Hello everybody, today I have the pleasure to propose to you this key 78 entitled Matrix, Different Reality or Different Realities. Well, it's the chapter 9 on which we're gonna talk today about the illusion of reality through the Maya. Okay, that's to say the myth of the cave, also the theory of the simulation, the morphic fields, and so on and so forth. Well, let's start with the notion of the myth of the cave. What is it concretely? Is from the former Greek philosophy and from Plato, who states is a metaphor, an allegory, okay, allegory of the cave, for which the reality would be for certain humans like in a cave. Okay, so they are let's say enslaved with a chain on a wall. Okay, so the reality for them is just a screen, okay, the screen, the wall, for which there is only shadows. The shadows are, like Chinese shadows, for which there is people beside them, but they cannot see them, behind them, and they cannot see them. But they are playing with puppets and with a fire, so they only see shadows. For them, this is reality. One day, one of them is capable to go out, okay, to unbreak his chains. So he go out of the cave and he can discover the world, the trees, the colors, the sky, the sun, and so on. He finds that's absolutely fantastic. He comes back to see his friends, and they don't believe him, and they even are very upset, and they try to kill him. So this is a metaphor for life in general. Probably because once you experiment the notion of altered consciousness through psychotic and so on, even if I'm not doing the apology I'm not in favor of that, I never took, but some people use for shamanic retreats and so on. But personally, I already have this kind of experience of insight, okay, like awakening. Okay, so I went out of my body. It was an astral projection in 2001, very intensive one. 24 hours, I was traveling in space-time. I was gathering some information. I was the wall. I was everything, okay, the consciousness. I was receiving so many information, for which then I get back to my body after 24 hours. And during 1 week, I was so crazy. I was like super strange. I was receiving information and so on. So many information and so on. And then I read a book 1 week later that I discovered randomly, and it was exactly in the same order. Okay, so, and the book that I bought at this moment, not before, of course. And actually, it's the same principle. Okay, when you're talking about astral project, astral travel to someone, astral journey who never experienced, it's impossible. It's like talking to love to someone who has never been in love. Is the same principle. So once you experience that, or when you passed away, you are awakening from a dream. Okay, so you have an expansion of consciousness. So there is another myth like this, like the cave myth or allegory, which is in Chinese philosophy, Zhuangzi butterfly dream. Concretely, what is it? So the philosopher Zhuangzi fell asleep, okay, in a garden, and he had a dream. Okay, so he dreamed that he was a beautiful butterfly. Then the butterfly flew and is exhausted and start to fall asleep. Okay, the butterfly had a dream too, and he dreamed that he was the philosopher, Zhuangzi. Okay, at this moment, Zhuangzi woke up and he didn't know if he was now the real Zhuangzi, the Zhuangzi, or the Zhuangzi of the butterfly dream. He also didn't know afterwards if he was him who had a dream of the butterfly, or if the butterfly had a dream of him. Okay, so you see the confusion. Principle of dream within a dream, and so on, with let's say reflection of the dreams, like inception and so on. And I will tell you with in the video 11, I will try to have some personal testifies for which when I read things, there is retro action towards my life as well. And I wrote books for which the character, all his writing becomes true. Okay, so it's a little bit this effect. So anyway, in the literature, you also have Life is a Dream from Pedro Calderón de la Barca. So it's a Spanish writer, poet, okay, dramaturge from the 17th century, for which the character is imprisoned from his birth because his father had a prophecy for which he will try to destroy the kingdom. Okay, so during 20 years, he's in jail, and one day the father decide to put him on the throne and to be a king for only one single day. But for him, is not reality. For him, the fact to be on the throne and to be out of his prison, because he only knew the prison for his whole life, the fact to be on his throne and to see other people and so on is a pure dream. So, of course, in this story, there is the notion of freedom, destiny, reality, and so on. Plato, the Plato's world ideas, is also in the same idea as well. For him, Plato, the Greek philosopher, he stated that there is, beyond of this dull reality, there is something higher, something behind, okay? Invisible, but orchestrating life as it is now. So this is the world of ideas, for which a kind of cloud from which you can tap into and you can download some information, like the field, the divine matrix, okay? Carl Jung, the great, one of the two creators of psychoanalysis, say the following: in addition of our immediate consciousness, which is of an altogether personal nature, there is a second psychic system of collective and universal and impersonal nature, which is identical in all individuals. So for him, this is the concept of unconsciousness is personal, and collective unconsciousness or collective unthinking is belonging to everybody. This is also what Hindus called akasha, akashic records, for which Erwin Laszlo, I spell it L-A-S-Z-L-O, did a lot of research. Is a scientist and is really interesting. For him, the quantum void is full of information, and he's not the only one saying that. As my concern, I assume, according to my researches and my discovery in terms of science and also the mysticism, then I told you the reality is made of 4% of physical matter, despite the fact that we can only see through let's say a keyhole of a door. But anyway, just is 4% is physical matter. It's only energy, but whatever, visible. Okay, let's say visible for us in between 400 hertz and 700 hertz, because beyond or let's say under or upper, it's ultraviolet or infrared. You cannot see the gamma waves, you cannot see the radar waves, you cannot see the Wi-Fi and so on. But anyway, we can measure with let's say with apparel. It's kind of visible for this apparel device, but not for human. But anyway, 4% is physical matter. 27% is dark matter, invisible. And then 69% is dark energy. And I assume that the dark matter is accessible and is like a storage room, okay, a server for which you have the old pasts. Okay, the old past and the old pasts with a S, okay, with all memories and so on from the past. And we can access with a notion of channeling or switching. Anyway, and the 69% of invisible, let's say, part of reality, which is the dark energy, would be the all potentials. I told you all exist already and all ready to exist, okay? In a certain extent, all exists all the time, and all time exists all the time. Well, let's talk about the morphic fields. The morphic fields, concretely, the morphic non-localized immaterial field is responsible for form, is informal, it's informational, okay, shaping the form of our reality. The energy, invisible energy of this field is shaping the reality. This is the work of biologists, British biologists, Rupert Sheldrake, for which, according to him, there is a nature, and everything depends on these fields. There is a field, a morphic field, for all types of, for example, for a tree, for a bird, for atom, for molecules, for crystals, for organisms, for society, for community, and so on and so forth. Okay, so a field of information influencing it. It's a kind of egregore that we will redefine later. So actually, this idea, the fact that there is a hidden part of the iceberg, okay, of our reality in shaping the physical reality, is something that you can find in different schools. Like, for example, Pythagoras, okay, for him, everything is number. Everything is number, is numerology, okay? It's not a system of binary, a system like 0, 1, 0, 1, and so on. It's for him, everything is a combination, and even beyond of what you can see here is just numbers. Interaction with people is a notion of combination of numbers, like formula. And if you want to understand that, is like when you play a video game. The backstage you cannot see, and it's just coding with information, with formula and so on, is only numbers. And these numbers, this combination, this formula are generating algorithm and so on. And the coding allows to have images and even interaction. You can play and you are limited or not with different behavior, action and so on. I can do that or that and so on. I can poo, maybe not in the video game. You see, if it's, I don't know, a soccer game, I'm not sure that it's the character is capable, the players are capable to just to lay down or just to sleep or smoke a cigarette or I don't know, a pooing or peeing, imagining or fighting the supporter, the fan and so on. So that's the point. Plato was talking about platonic bodies, you know, like tetrahedron, octahedron, and so on, octahedron and dodecahedron and so on and so forth. In astronomy is the same, is the conjunction, okay, the conjunction of the stars influencing with the magnetism, okay, the alignments is affecting mankind, mindset and behavior, and individual behavior and collective behavior with also the interaction with people. Okay, according to this philosophy, that's the principle of the moon. The moon impact the tide, impact the monthly, let's say, periods of women and so on. The source of inspiration of the greatest, let's say, artist or scientist, like, for example, Da Vinci, Avicenne, Einstein, Medved, who had in dreams the periodic classification in chemistry, or Ramanujan, the first Indian to reach Cambridge for him, for which he discovered like 3,000, let's say, theorems, and he was not capable to demonstrate all of them, even a minority of them, but other people did for him. So he was literally say that he was downloading for a kind of ethereal world, like a cloud and so on. He was downloading basically. It was like a channeling. Okay, so as I say to you many times, the brain is too small to contain memory, so it wouldn't be a storage organ, but a link, an interface to access to the database of the field, the morphogenetic field, which the past, the present, and the future mingle, okay, are present, okay. This field could be connected or compared to an external reader, you know, the hard disk, okay. For example, or a platform like Dropbox and so on. Reality is made of information that is decoded and then interpreted, okay? So the morphic resonance is the effect like the butterfly effect, okay? A small effect are creating ripple effect or domino effects, okay? Creating something bigger. So, but the resonant effect is the fact that once, this is the principle of egregor, I say many times, but just as a fresh reminder, despite the fact we spend in the key 74, I think, 74 egregors. You have 4 videos for that. Concretely, the egregors are thought forms, okay? Influencing, like if you have received from a cloud some drops, okay? You have drops, you are wet, okay? You try to dry up, and these drops could be compared to some thoughts, okay? They are in condensation. You adhere to some of them, okay? So you are emitting, okay, drops. Condensation is your mindset, for example, your thoughts. And then, okay, condensation and so on. Another guy think the same and so on. So all the people who think in the same way, they combine these droplets, creating a new cloud, okay? And then the cloud has a densification, and then the clouds become rain. The rain affects and make wet other people and so on. Either they reject their ideas or either they adhere. So the egregors is like, communicated vases. We influence them, we feed them, and they feed us, they shape us, okay, on the both sides. It's the same for the morphic fields. Concretely, the morphic fields are ability for which we can download and have an access, and then to like updates on your mobile. I give you an example, is the most known. This is the theory of the 100th monkey. Concretely, what is it? It is a study in the 50s. Some Japanese scientists tried to analyze during 8 years a race of monkeys on an island. Okay, so they used to eat some sweet potato, but the problem is that the taste is not good, it's quite bitter, for the simple reason there are a lot of sound. Okay, one of them has a luminous ID and decide to clean up with water. Okay, so clean water. So then the taste is better because there is no this bitter taste. Okay, so it's marvelous breakthrough, discovery, and this monkey tried to teach to other ones. Some of them adhere to this idea, and they start to use it as, let's say, a normal habit of life. Some people are reluctant, they don't want to adhere, and so on. And it takes time like this, 8 years. After a certain level, critical threshold, a certain level, maybe a few percent, not necessarily the entire population, of course, but maybe after 8 years of teaching and spreading and experience and so on, testimonies, let's say, there is a certain level, like maybe, I say randomly, 1% of the entire population is adhering to that. At this moment, reaching this critical threshold, in the same night, all the race of these islands adhere to this new, this new behavior. It's like when you put a drop of milk into the coffee, immediately it is brown. Okay, it's the same what that happened. So concretely, it's like the field, the morphic field for this race of monkey has been updated, and everybody could have access and download this information. And it was like a second nature. But what's the most interesting in this experience is the fact that the same night, when everybody adhered to it, as the morphic field was, let's say, updated, the other monkeys on other islands, distant, okay, from this island, they also did the same. They also update the same information, and then they start to eat by cleaning this sweet potato. So it's quite interesting in that notion of, that's why you have this, the fact that when there is a discovery, at the same time, very often in the history, with no spy, no, let's say, influence, some people in a part of the world and another part of the world discover something, and immediately another guy discovered the same. And I had that because a French guy, a channel, he wrote 2 different books, and at the same time I wrote almost the same type of books with the same some ideas, some way of saying, some expression and so on, and with new ideas. And this is quite interesting because it's not he copied me, it's not me who copied him, it's just this notion it has been accessible for mankind in a certain extent. Well, I wanted to talk about the matrix, but before that I would like to talk about Simulacrum 3. What is it? Is a book, unknown unfortunately, but who inspired Matrix, the movie. There is a movie, the name is 30th Floor. Okay, so concretely is a man, a searcher, whose work on the simulation, and he discovered that he's himself living in a simulation with a notion of Russian dolls simulation. So Matrix has different influences. First is the myth of the cave, allegory of cave, of plateau, Simulacrum 3, and Jean Baudrillard, a French guy. And by the way, when you watch the movie, he opened up a book of this guy, Baudrillard, and this is a hollow book in which he's taking a CD. And hollow book, what does it mean? It means that is a metaphor showing that there is no content in it. And actually, this is always to talk about the fact that for him, the philosophy was the fact that our the territory is not the map is the representation, and the territory is kind of reality. But unfortunately, the virtuality is stronger nowadays than the reality. The virtual world first and surpassed the real world in a certain extent. So in this movie, Matrix, the machines use the human energy as a fuel. They would be physically in box and then neurologically stimulated in the matrix. Okay, this is the dream world or simulated world and so on. A lot of people say, and we can see on New Age trends, a little bit low cost, that Matrix is a documentary. No, Matrix is just a allegory, a metaphor, like the myth of cave. A cave is not history, a real history. It's just an allegory to think about it. We are not in a machine. We can consider that the robots and so on, they are like egregores or energy or entities and so on, shaping us and so on, form thought. Why not? But not with plugs and so on. Well, let's continue. This notion of adhering to egregores for making a parallel is also like, a website. A website, the frequency, if people are visiting it, is more is more suggested. Same for a YouTube channel. If people have a lot of like and a lot of views, of course, the algorithm push this video instead of other when they are not so. Well, actually, I'm writing different books, and one of them is an actress playing the role of a medium, a channel, and then she developed this ability, and she's taught that the fact that we are all avatars, in the sense that we are used as muse, okay, and each individuals, we are 8 billions, they are 100 billions of ghosts, of entities, because since the beginning of humanity we were 109 billion. So all of them, they want to express themselves through us. Okay, will also with the archetype or the egregores of anger, of love, of all these kind of archetypes. Okay, like the gods of mythology, and they influence us, they shape us, and some of us, according to our degree of let's say, autonomy, detachment, and so on, we are free or not. And some people are completely in the illusion, in the Maya, in the matrix, and they are just enslaved, and they are just the puppet, the puppet of them. It's like even at the extreme, the cases of possession. We can see also the notion of the theory of simulation is from Nick Bostrom in 2003, for which I like to take the example of the video game. I told you it's like coding, and then the coding of the programmer makes that you have videos and you can act, okay? You can behave, I mean, through your avatar. The avatar, actually, I say, but if he didn't program that you pee on the spot, if, for example, you are playing to soccer, football, or you cannot maybe lay down, sleep down, and so on, you are limited in your gesture, of course. So it's pre-programmed, it's pre-planned, okay? So it's a kind of illusion of freedom, because you have a freedom within the gesture, but we are limited in a certain number of... Anyway, you have also the notion of, for me, a good example of simulation would be sim cities, and so on. Okay, you are a mayor of a city, and when there is unsafety, you create a police station or a school and so on for education and so on. And then you have results and effect, and this is really initiatory. But anyway, this is one of example. Then when you watch the movie Truman Show, with Jim Carrey, with Inception as well, Dream in a Dream in a Dream, Total Recall as well, Alice in Wonderland, all of them are, let's say, allusion of the theory of simulation. When I was young, I was thinking I was in a sitcom, living in a sitcom, and there was, laughing like, oh, like in Cosby Show and so on. Anyway, for Nick Bostrom, there is one chance on 3, so 33% that we are in a simulation. For David Kipping, astronomer, half chance that we are in a simulation. And for Elon Musk, there is we have 1 billion chance that we live in a basic reality. So for him, it's obvious we are in a simulation. Actually, the simulation exists already for video games, for climate, let's say to visualize in a survey how the climate can evolve, and then for seismic to make some tests, crash tests, for example, for automotive, also for Cosmos as well, to recreate with hologram on a computer what's happened for Big Bang, for example. In the social level, also maybe probably with the information that we gather from Facebook or social media, and they resell and so on. But the theory of simulation exists through BlackRock. BlackRock through the software Aladdin. I invite you to try to do some research, because it's quite fascinating and also scary. So BlackRock is the top 1 company in the world. Is richer than United States. Okay, the richest country in the world. So it's richer than Britain, Germany, and France all together. Okay, so they are investors and advisor, consultants. Okay, so it's like Goldman Sachs, who was the consultant and investor of Greece. Okay, betting on the collapse of Greece and advising them some things. So imagine the conflict of interest. So for BlackRock, that's why it's really scaring. They own 5%, for example, of CAC 40, the French stock market. This is quite scary. And 30% in states. It's crazy, the power they have. So, but the thing is, they use Aladdin. Aladdin is gathering all the data of internet worldwide, okay? And by crossing the information with special algorithm, they are capable to have some forecasts, okay? So, of course, it's just a tool. It's not cheating to do that. But the thing, when, of course, they have more chance to be advised by artificial intelligence, so usually what they are suggested is quite relevant, but so far it's okay. It's only the fact that then they're gonna invest where they have been suggested, so which is in their interest, okay, fine. But then they are consultant as well, so they will orientate according to their own personal interest. But anyway, but so for me, it's really scary. So the fact we are in a simulation, to be frank with you, so far we didn't develop and reach the strong, let's say, algorithm. So we strong artificial intelligence. So we don't reach it so far. Personally, I've been not programmed to believe in this simulation. To be honest with you, I think probably we are in a dream, within a dream, within a dream, like Russian dolls. Why not? But this, I don't believe in it. Well, as I like to say, we will never wake from this dream, since this is only a dream. We will also be forever daydreaming, since it is only a dream. And also, just an advice, perhaps it's not the dream that we need to change, but rather the mind of the dreamer, dream maker and the dreamer. Well, I hope it will help you to shape the master key to open up the door of consciousness, of love, of whatever you want. As you know, all the roads lead to Rome and to the Dome and to home. Thank you for your attention, and see you very soon.